plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're just sitting here a little confused. I didn't play the full intro. I don't understand. But nevertheless,
I don't know what happened.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning into Shock Joxx Sports Podcast. We've got sports, and more sports to talk about. College basketball has started. College football is continuing to go. The NFL is continuing to go. And we also have... It seems like we have people in the house that are wanting to sing at the same time, and
I'm gonna play it, by God.
And you're gonna play it? Don't play it.
It's playing. What? I am.
Well, I'm already
the
into
incredible
this.
Man, I can do things incredible can. I am. What?
You go ahead and pause it. Go ahead and pause it.
I've hit too many buttons. What? I wanted to get it in. Now you can go, Hunter.
Have you seen The Emperor's New Groove?
No.
That Disney movie.
No.
Well, there's a famous line from that movie.
Okay.
It's a Disney movie. And the Emperor was doing his thing. I guess he was dancing and singing, and he runs into this old man, and it throws him off. And he looks at him and goes, "Dude, you threw me out of my groove." And that's exactly what you did when I was mid-intro, and you just start playing Playmakers. You threw me out of my groove. Now, I don't know where to go with it now. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is all you got. I don't know what to do now. I was saying there was college basketball that was going on. College football is going on. Of course, the NFL is going on. We actually have 2 games tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Major League Baseball's off season, I guess, is getting ready to heat up, but it's not going to be anything yet for another couple weeks. Really, probably not until next year we start seeing some great moves. And then the NBA is what? What's today? 27th,
Yeah.
Just under.
Today's the 7th.
You got about 15 days for the start of the season.
What's the first day?
I think the 20. JK, I think there's 22. No, hold on. Is it the 25th or the 22nd?
The 25th is December. Is
I don't
Christmas.
know. I know it. I know Christmas is the 25th, but I don't know if they're starting Christmas Day or if they're starting a few days before Christmas. Because I know they were wanting to start at the in December.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, actually, NBA schedule. So what is this? Because it says there are games happening Friday, December 11th. And
Is that not preseason?
I guess. But how long do we go for preseason? I don't know, because it says 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. So does that mean the next week we'll be having...
Maybe those are real games.
Maybe they are. I don't know. I'm confused because it doesn't say out to the side preseason. It just says matchups.
So I clicked on the Hornets one. It says preseason until the 19th.
Okay. So that's preseason.
Right.
And then where's the regular season?
Hornets regular season starts the 23rd.
Okay, so it is the 20. It is probably the 22nd or the 23rd when it starts. Okay, cool. So we are
2 weeks away.
About 2 weeks away. Not bad.
That's such a quick turnaround.
It is. It's the shortest off season
during
any sport has ever had.
During the basically during football, yeah, who posted that? I guess Amy posted. I don't know. Crap, I forgot. You got me off my groove. Is the Emperor's Groove, is that the llama?
Yes.
I've seen my kids watching it. I have not watched it. So it is in the house.
Yes.
So we do have it somewhere.
That poor old man gets thrown off the side of the building, too, because of it.
So he got turned into a llama?
Yes. It's a great movie.
You've seen that, but where's my list?
No, forget that list.
Where's my
the
list?
Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, it's right here in front of
The
me.
Emperor's New Groove was
No
there
Tin
when I
Cup,
was
no
growing
Days
up.
of Thunder, League of Their Own, Bull Durham, Blue Chips, Air Up There, Varsity Blues, Any Given Sunday, Cool Runnings, Tombstone, Pulp Fiction, Ace Ventura, and The Rock.
The Emperor's New Groove. Look, it's.
But he can tell me all about The Emperor's New Groove.
That movie came out while I was growing up. Not like these that predestined my time.
Sound like you watched it last week.
I just have remembered it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I would watch it again. It's a good movie.
Is it really?
It really is. I really enjoy
some of
it.
those kids' movies are good.
I enjoy Disney movies.
Some of them are bad. Some of them are darker than what you think.
Well, see, that's the thing. When you go back and rewatch those movies that you might have watched when you were younger, when you're in your at least maybe 16 to your early 20s, and of course in the later years, you're like, oh, so that's what they meant.
Right.
Oh,
well, they
I
had
didn't
a lot of
notice
adult
that.
jokes in this stuff, but even at that, so the older Disney movies, like before you were born, almost all of them are based on some type of a pre-existing fairy tale or some other, and most of them had some type of dark twist and turn. So, you can't. I can't watch any of them without making my wife mad and being like, "Hey, you know what this movie's really about?"
Right. Yeah, it's
Pinocchio's not about puppets. Well, hate to warn you guys.
Guys.
Yeah, I understand. You as a kid, you watch anything that's a cartoon and in the Disney world. But yeah, we're going to start the 23rd. Hornets at Cleveland. OKC is hosting. They'll be at Oklahoma City, then Brooklyn, Dallas, Memphis, Philadelphia. Twice. 2 games at Philadelphia in 2 days.
Yeah, so it looks like opening day is going to be the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 2 games that night, and it is Golden State at Brooklyn and LA at LA. So it's Clippers, Lakers at 10 o'clock, Golden State at Brooklyn at 7 o'clock.
Well,
now you know exactly why the NBA did that.
What?
It had those matchups. It's not it's pretty black and white on why they have Golden State going to Brooklyn to play and the Clippers playing the Lakers day one. I mean,
pretty
obvious.
I told you I've decided that I have given up on the NBA.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I'm not. Here, you want to hear the NBA power rankings?
I bet I could guess probably the top 4.
Think so? I don't know. We'll see. Give me top 4 before it comes up.
I think the power rankings would be the Lakers, the Bucks, the Clippers, and then maybe the Nets, maybe the Nuggets, just because they made a Western Conference final. That would be my rankings.
Let's see what the famous worldwide leader says, and I did have some notes on that. Something about them as well today. Lakers 1, Bucks 2, Nets 3, Clippers 4.
Damn. All I had was the flip-flop between...
Miami 5.
Okay.
Dallas 6, and the disrespect of the state of Colorado, the Denver Nuggets coming in at number 7. If they were in the East last year, would they have made the finals?
Yes. Yes.
So,
well, possibly. It still just depends on how Milwaukee does, but I think Denver matches up well with, Miami and the Celtics. So, and they have the Celtics right there at 8. And to me, I'm not surprised by that. But seriously, I literally nailed 1 through 4. Just I had 3 and 4 flip-flopped. Like I figured that's what it was going to be, just because the return of Kevin Durant and Kyrie with the Nets, they're going to be hype train. That's why I knew these. I should have known that these were going to be the opening day matchups. Golden State going to face Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets, and then the two LA teams battling it out to see which is better this year. I mean, that's the narrative is not surprising because the NBA, to me, it's a very narrative-driven league, especially towards last year. Unfortunately, with the death of Kobe Bryant, and then with the COVID stoppage, bringing it back, said, "Well, is this the time for the Lakers?" In the wake of Kobe's death and the restart of the season, and then can LeBron get his fourth ring? It was just so narrative-driven. Now I look at it this year, and all I've heard is the narrative is, will the Lakers repeat? And if they do, can they three-peat? It's just going to be Lakers talking. See, that's what
right.
I felt like the NBA was in a healthy spot, and people are going to think I'm stupid, especially if they work for a major network corporation. But I thought the NBA was in a healthy place when the Lakers were bad, because then we weren't Lakers, the Lakers, the Boston Celtics, and the Lakers. I feel like a lot of other teams got the shine. Now, sure, it was Golden State and Cleveland, just because that was the battle of Steph and LeBron. But even that got old. Just like how for years, all that ever talk was, well, the league is good when the Lakers are good. The league is good when the Celtics are good.
Right.
When the Knicks are good, the league is. And I'm like, is it really?
Those type of people are the ones that pull for Alabama, that pull for Clemson, that pull for Notre Dame, that pull for
elitism.
USC. There you go, elitism. It's those that would say, if Clemson goes 11-0 in the ACC, and let's say Carolina, Florida State, and Miami all go 10-2. Strong ACC, packed, really strong.
Right.
Carolina goes undefeated, and Duke, Wake Forest, and NC State go 10-2. ACC's down.
Right.
It's
a name
what
thing.
you're talking about is elitism, and I was kind of thinking the same things, that people and fans so the NBA's main problems is it is a star-driven league, and then when you take the best players and then put good players on their team, or really good players on their teams who could be leading their own teams,
yes,
it makes the casual fans not care, not pay attention. As a Hornets fan, what do I have to cheer for?
Playoff berth, that's about it. But even then, what is that? That's a first round exit.
So hopefully in the first round we get to see Kevin Durant sweep us.
Right.
That's our goal this year.
You get to at least host him in Charlotte.
Hopefully we get to see Kevin Durant come to town and beat us twice.
Yeah.
And that's what's hard for NBA fans. And basketball in general, the game, the best basketball player on a team usually wins in a 7-game series. That's the thing. Where in college, where you can have some upsets and have some teams knocked off, is that in a 7-game series, it's hard to beat the best guy 4 out of 7 times. Now, when the team's got the best 2 guys on the court, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Most NBA teams have 2 superstars. But then when they start adding these thirds to these teams, that's when
even just fringe star players. Fringe star players going, just because it's one of those things that you're starting to notice as the star players, maybe they get into their 4th or 5th year in the league, and it's really not working out for them in their position. They start ring chasing. They're like,
start thinking about
it.
Oh,
well, I heard LeBron's looking for somebody he wants to play for. I heard Kawhi's looking for someone he wants to play for.
2 stars is fine with me. But, the Hornets ain't had somebody that can average 25 points a game almost forever, if not the history of the team. And for teams like the Nets will put 3 on one team, that just pisses you off as a fan.
Right.
Why do we have a team? Why? What are we competing for other than for, basically we're making hot dog money for the backups in the NBA. And it's frustrating to fans. And then, like what you said, a lot of people don't like the Lakers.
No.
A lot of people don't like front runners. A lot of people don't like LeBron. You put LeBron as a front runner on the Lakers. I mean, he's one of the biggest front runners of all time, and the fact that he's not going to a finals unless I've got at least 2 All-Stars on my team. I'm not even going to compete without at least 2 other All-Stars. And last year he did a good job with this one, and then in a not a strike shortened season, but a Corona shortened season in a ballroom against no higher than a 3 seed or 5 seed.
I think they didn't play anybody higher than a 3 because I think Denver was a 3.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
There was no competition, no Kevin Durant, no Warriors. Like, think about it. Kevin Durant on the Nets, people would have said that would have been a good series. The Warriors at full strength said that would be a good series. Clippers didn't even get to play them.
No.
The Nuggets didn't play them at full strength. They were missing Will Barton. My man Bol didn't touch the floor. Like, think about it, that's 2 players basically that didn't play for Denver that could get buckets and do things. And so it's hard for people to sit here and fans of it to want to watch it. And there is no fairness in the NBA almost. There is no, this team can win. I think our team can. How many times do you see an upset in a 7-game series?
I'll say
not
this.
Much.
There's no parity
Right.
in the NBA, just like there's no parity in college football. I can agree with that. There at least is more of a handful amount of teams that can win it every year in college basketball, but that's just because they're 1 games. Like, if you don't win that 1 game, you're done. That's what the big difference is.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking in the NFL, for the most part, there is a little parity just between who at least makes the Super Bowl, one of the teams. But for the past few years, there has been no parity out of the AFC because it's either been New England or Kansas City, and I think Kansas City can do it now again this year. So then you'll start to question the parity there. But for basketball-wise, what was it, Golden State and LeBron 5 straight years in a row?
Something like that.
Yeah, or maybe it was, even then it was 4.
4 straight.
4, because Golden State won 3 of those, and LeBron won 1 with the Cavaliers. But for years, it was always the talk of the Lakers and the Spurs were the ones that were making it out of the West. The Mavericks snuck in there maybe twice during that run. And who else did?
Every time the Spurs ended up not making it, what was the reason? Somebody was hurt.
Yeah,
it was almost.
They weren't full strength.
It was almost always injuries, and they are the most. Besides the Pistons that won it, I think it was 2003. The Spurs are the most diverse, like non-reliant on a superstar champion that the NBA may have ever had in the past 30 years, and the fact that they didn't. Listen, I'm not a Tim Duncan fan. But he the big fundamental, he was reliable. He might be one of the most reliable people.
You knew what he was going to do. Anytime he showed up to the arena, it was 20-10.
Right. But Ginobili was the dynamic on that team. In all of those championships, he's the one that had to guard Kobe. He's the one that had to go one-on-one with those guys, those small forwards, those shooting guards. Tony Parker out there, he did a good job, great job on the offense. But the point guards in the NBA are so good, they seem to negate each other out. And then Duncan and the other big man. And then you're turned into, now I've got Ginobili against Kobe, Ginobili against whoever. And then you added Kawhi into the mix in that last one. So to me, they have done the best job. And people called it boring basketball. Right? And maybe it's because they didn't have superstars.
Spurs ball.
But the superstar, I would much rather watch Spurs and the Pistons play each other from the old days than, the superstar basketball is, it's kind of hard to watch in a sense that, the calls, the unfairness of the calls. We all know if, let's say, Tyler Hansbrough ducked his head, drove to the lane, dipped his shoulder into any defender, they're calling an offensive foul. LeBron does it every play, and they don't call it. Shaq got away with the same stuff, which was fine. But they'd say he's bigger, stronger. How do you defend it? And I'm like, if you're in position, it doesn't matter how strong he is. And that's the whole point of basketball, is being in the right position. And then when the refs don't call it, then you just can't defend something. Well, it is frustrating for the casual fan.
I think it's more of when I talk about the parity for basketball, outside of, well, I take that back because even San Francisco is a pretty major market. It's usually just large markets that make it to the finals. And that's what everybody roots for. It's the it's the L.A. Think about it. The two favorite this year to make it out of the West are both L.A. teams. For God's sakes, they share the same arena. It's just they're two LA teams, and then the ones that everybody wants to come out of the East now, Brooklyn, they're in New York. Sure, it's not New York City, but it might as well be. So you got Brooklyn, and then Boston. That's another major basketball market. Miami made it last year. That's a major market. The only one that's not a major market that is probably going to make it out of the East is Milwaukee. But that's just because Milwaukee got lucky through the draft that they found a diamond in Giannis and have built around him. Other than that, you don't see Atlanta making a finals. You don't see Charlotte making a finals.
Never made an Eastern
You don't
Conference
see
finals.
Orlando making a finals. I'm talking today. I'm not talking about Shaq's day and Shaq and Penny's day. I'm just talking today's. Sure, there was that one season with Dwight, but other than that, and then you can say Cleveland is not a major market. That's fine, but they also had the benefit of having the best player in basketball at the time. And we just sat here and said, in basketball, if you have the best player in the league, you usually win. Like, you can win those basketball games. It helped, too, LeBron's second time in Cleveland, that he did have Kyrie, who was a all-star, and Kevin Love, who was a all-star. So that's why Cleveland was able to make those runs. But if you look at the dynamic of who have made the finals from the West and the East, maybe, past 10 years, it's been Golden State, San Antonio. That's not a major market, but that was one of the best ran teams. I know Oklahoma City's in there, but they were only there for a minute. And then after that, you're going to see the Lakers were there a lot.
It's funny you just started doing that. That's exactly what I was counting over here.
Is who has been in the finals maybe the last 10 years?
No, since 2000.
Since
the turn of the
2000.
century.
Okay.
Now, it's a weird dichotomy here. I'm trying to make sure I get everything down. So in the West, and here's what I'm meaning by parity as much as, and Hunter probably is too, and because LeBron changing teams has changed a bunch of this stuff.
But it's been wherever he's been,
right? Well,
for a majority.
You could almost narrow it down to players as well instead of just LeBron. So basically, since 2000, almost every finals has had either LeBron, Duncan, or Curry in it.
Yeah,
like almost every one of them at some point. It's close
since
to that.
2000,
close to that.
Even that had Kobe was in there.
If you add Kobe to it, it's probably about all of them.
Right.
Like,
I think it is.
like it's
I think it is
close.
because I'm looking over there and I see a lot of Lakers.
Yeah, Mavericks Heat was one that wasn't. That wasn't.
Well, it had LeBron.
The first one.
Oh, the first one. Yeah, that's Dwayne Wade and Shaq.
The first one. So, I mean, we can do that too. You know, the first few Lakers, of course, were Shaq and Kobe, and then the Spurs. That was from 2000 Hunter to 2010. Only those two teams in the Mavericks once made the finals in the West, and that was the loss there. In 2011, it was the Mavericks. Then Oklahoma City's the only team out west that hasn't made it twice since 2000. There's only 5 teams out west. Lakers, Warriors, Spurs, and Mavericks have all made it twice since 2000. So 5 of the 15 teams out west. Now in the East, there's a lot of parity. About every other year, for the most part. Miami, Toronto, Cleveland, Boston, Orlando, New Jersey, Detroit, Sixers, and the Pacers have all been in a final since 2009 of the 15 teams. Now, but when you cut that down, Miami, Cleveland, that's LeBron in all those.
Well, except one for Miami.
And then when you look at these, almost all of these teams, for the most part, a lot of them lost too. Pacers got beat. Sixers got beat. The Nets got beat. Orlando got beat. And Detroit won. They upset the Lakers. Boston won. And then Toronto won. So the parity thing is that what's weird about the NBA the way it is now, it's not necessarily just the team, just the cities or like the Lakers or whatever. It's going to be just the players. So like when LeBron moves, the teams change. Kevin Durant moves, teams change. If you're putting 3 guys on a team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie, like, I don't trust Kyrie worth anything. But if he gets James Harden on his team, it's going to be tough to guard. It's just tough to guard. It's a numbers thing, and it's going to be very difficult for
I don't
anybody.
know. This is just one of those things where NBA basketball does not excite me until playoffs.
I agree.
That's just how it is. It doesn't excite me. I think it's cool when I see highlights of, maybe a fantastic play, a sick dunk, a guy hitting a buzzer beater during the regular season. Like, that's all fine and dandy. And you're looking at my team right there, Washington. I mean, I'm not excited for this year. Sure, we got Russell Westbrook. But how much do I have to get excited? The same as you, to get a 7 or 8 spot and get bounced in the first round.
Y'all might be third.
Third?
Mm-hmm.
In the East?
Mm-hmm.
In what planet? We have to be better than Milwaukee, the Nets, Boston,
I said
Toronto.
Third. You only gotta be better than 2 teams. I mean, only 2 teams will be better.
Well, okay, 2 teams will be better than us, but I can already tell you 3 teams that are already better than us. Indiana is better than we are, and this is just the Pacers are better than we are. This is just a chemistry thing.
Who's on the Pacers?
Victor Oladipo
And he's asking
and
for a
Miles
trade.
Turner. No, he's not. He said he denied it.
Okay, so Oladipo, Bill's just good as him, if not better, and Westbrook's better. Whoever the hell their point guard is, Rui, I'm guessing, is better. Whoever their small forward is.
Rui's still young. Avdija's still young. Like,
Let's
we're
see,
young
Wizards.
outside of the Beals. We're young outside of Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. That's what we are.
I could win the division.
No.
It's either y'all or Miami. It's not like the rest of them are any good.
Well, that's fine. Are we better than Miami today? I don't think so.
Probably.
No.
Hunter,
I don't think we're better than the
what
Raptors.
do you have against Russell Westbrook so bad? Like, he's an MVP. Triple-double machine.
Cam Newton was an MVP.
Yeah, I know.
We make that argument
I
all the
know.
time. I mean, just because Russell Westbrook comes to town I don't put us in the top 3 or 4 in the East. I don't.
Where were y'all last year?
We were like 8th, 7th or 8th, and we lost.
When's the last time Wall played the whole season?
2 years ago.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. And when he was with us, the highest I think we made it was 4th, or at least the 4th best record in the East.
I didn't want the NFL standings. I was trying to click on the NBA.
So with Westbrook coming to town, it does something that you wanted to at least happen with Charlotte. It makes us interesting. We're a story. We're going to be somebody to watch because Russell Westbrook's in town and because of how he plays and what he brings with him, which is MVP and probably, a lot of people believe it, probably first ballot Hall of Famer when he goes in because he has had those seasons averaging a triple-double. To me, though, it's just, I don't just look at Russell Westbrook. I look at the core makeup of the team. And I know Bradley Beal is great, but if Russell Westbrook still comes in here as a Jackosaurus, then it's going to take shots away from Bradley Beal, who, to me, is a better perimeter scorer than Russell Westbrook by maybe 2 to 3 leagues. Like, he's leagues ahead of Russell Westbrook as a perimeter scorer. If Westbrook comes in, buys into what his old coach Scott Brooks tells him, because Scott Brooks was the one that coached him to that finals when he was with Oklahoma City and Kevin Durant and them. If he comes in and buys in, and maybe Scott Brooks says, look, you're great, Russ, don't get us wrong, but the perimeter shots need to go to Bradley Beal or Avdija, who we just drafted as a sharpshooter. Like, don't come in here and pulling up your 30% from 3, okay? We can't do that and expect to win games. If he could buy into the more of a, how do I put this? A floor general, then I would be a little bit more excited. Because as much as John Wall could score for us, he would still at least put the assists first, and he wouldn't try and force jump shots like I see Russell Westbrook do. And that's the only thing I don't like about Russell Westbrook game. You and I can agree with it 100%. There was no reason for Russell Westbrook to ever outshoot Kevin Durant. But guess what he did when he was in Oklahoma City? And that's just what I fear Russell Westbrook's going to do when he comes in with Bradley Beal. I'm not saying Bradley Beal is Kevin Durant, but I know who's going to be able to hit the jump shots. And that's Beal over Westbrook. So I have to look at how the team meshes going forward. So that's why, to me, as of right now, Toronto's better than we are. The Nets, of course, are better. Brooklyn is, of course, Milwaukee is, of course, better. Boston is better. Miami is better just because of their core. They know what they have already with them. I don't know what we got right now. We got to work through that. It's not always sugar drops and gumdrops or however that saying is. It's not all candy and la la land as soon as you get a superstar. You got to see how he meshes with everybody else. And like I said, though, the key to me, we're young. Like, I like Rui. I think Rui's got a lot of potential in him, but he's only going to be in his second year. And last year, his season got cut short. Avdija. You loved Avdija coming out of the draft. Well, we have to see if he is what they say he can be. Nobody knew Luka was going to be what Luka was when he walked in. So we have to just see if Avdija comes in and fits the part. There's a lot of question marks around my Wizards. That's the thing. They're interesting. I will agree with anybody that says that. They're interesting because that's exactly what Russell Westbrook brought to him.
Okay. Now that you've had it on your own team for a few minutes when you shouldn't have.
Here's the thing. It takes a true fan to just look at them and not be blinded and saying, we're championship bound every year.
I'm just saying you should see a silver lining in this.
The only silver lining is that we know what Russell Westbrook is, and John Wall was coming off of an Achilles.
Okay, so you're in the ballpark there. So John Wall has played 9 seasons. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Only twice in his career has he averaged over 20 points in a season. Westbrook did that his first 2 years in the league at age 20 and 21, and every year after that has been over 20 points. John Wall's best year was 23.1 points a game. 23.1. Westbrook beat that 7 times. He's beaten that. The assist, Westbrook's career average is 8.3, his high 10.7. Wall's career average is 9.2, career high 10.7. Rebounds, John Wall 4 a game. Rebounds 7 a game from Wall. Wall's high 11. Of course, in his back-to-back triple-double seasons, the high rebounds for John Wall 4.9. Wall, the only time he's ever played 80 games in a season was one time, and he did not average 20 points a game. Russell Westbrook has played 4 82-game seasons plus 3 more 80-game seasons. And even if you doubt Westbrook's ability, his availability is always there for the most part, Hunter. He played 57 of the 60 games this year. And the thing about Russ that I will never say that John Wall has is the fire that's in that man.
I agree.
Is in that man's belly. A lot of people think there's nothing but alcohol in John Wall's belly.
Maybe. There was a time where Stephen A. Smith called out John Wall and said he looked like he's been hitting the drink a little bit too hard.
Well, you see who's in Houston now too, don't you? His best friend.
Hmm?
Did you not see who else signed in Houston? John Wall's best friend did.
I did. Oh,
his
yeah,
drinking
DeMarcus
buddy.
Cousins.
Yeah.
Boogie.
So now, in Houston, Texas, is John Wall, James Harden, and Boogie, and Harden's already missed the first team practice. You see that one?
Doesn't surprise me.
The night before, he was busy at a strip club. They have the video of him on Instagram at a strip club the night before the first practice that he didn't come to. The weekend before, did you see his birthday gift to, I think it was a rapper?
Was it a stripper?
Is there a rapper named Lil Baby?
Yeah. Was it a stripper?
No, he gave him a Louis Vuitton bag with $100,000 in it.
Damn, I think my birthday's coming up too, James. And I think I could use that $100,000 a whole lot more.
You need to lay down some Harden rhymes. That's what you need is Harden rhymes, and you can get you that.
I think that, I will say this. I think Harden, it wouldn't be as bad of a season as he thinks it would be if he stayed in Houston with John Wall and Boogie Cousins. It's only because John Wall is not going to try and match you shot for shot like maybe Russell Westbrook would. At least the volume of shots.
Also, it's not the same offense this year.
No, it's not.
You got to rethink that.
It's not D'Antoni's offense. They might actually utilize a big man and not play a 6'7" guy at center now that they have Boogie Cousins. I'm just saying, I think Harden would at least do Harden good to at least play until the trade deadline. And then if he's still unhappy and still is going to demand and ask for a trade, then I would do it at that time and kind of just force your hand. Because as of right now, you're still the face of Houston. Mm-hmm. That's your franchise. You're that cornerstone. So unless you're just absolutely done with everything that has to do with Houston, even the strip clubs, like, you got to say bye to them too. And they love your business.
What you do is you trade Harden for Anthony Davis and then hire Calipari.
You got Kentucky.
You got the Houston Wildcats.
The
Kentucky Rockets. Hunter, listen, a lot of people's going to look at Wall and Westbrook and say, same player, same thing. But to me, the fire in the belly makes it different. He's going to play better defense. Also, what he's going to do is, with that fire in his belly, he's going to fire up his teammates, I think, more than John Wall would. I think Wall's had his opportunity.
I've seen this story play out.
I'm not saying you're going to win the championship.
I was just saying, you bring Russell Westbrook in, and there's no guarantee that you're going to overexceed. Sometimes you fall short of expectations.
I think this is the best matchup for Russell Westbrook's game that he's ever had in his career.
Well, I think the best thing for this game is the fact that he's in the East now.
Right. So think about this.
He's not fighting against Western Conference teams.
Last year, the offense and everything's designed for someone else to score, which is fine if that guy's that much better than you, which you can't say Harden is. Now, if that's Kevin Durant, that's different. Westbrook's good. Westbrook's great, but he's not Durant. Nobody's Durant. But if he takes the same number of shots as Beal, I think that's perfectly fine, because to me they're neither one of them.
I don't know, man.
Neither one of them
because
is that A player.
I feel like Bradley Beal could be that A player if he has the right guy next to him. Because people forget, there was a string of games, I think it was for a whole month, Bradley Beal was averaging 30.
That's nice, but Beal will never win MVP. That's what you.
He's in Washington.
Let's. I think you comparing him to Cam's different, and it's a unique comparison that I can see where you're going with it. But I don't think they're the same type of player, and that I don't think Cam wants to win near as bad as Westbrook. I think Westbrook wants to win. And
I think Westbrook wants to win too, but I think he hasn't molded his game to fit what will win.
I think he shoots to win as opposed to Harden, who shoots to be on TV. You see what I mean? Like John Wall, I don't think he shoots just to be selfish. I think he shoots to try to damn win the ball. Like, I've got the ball, I'm open, I'm shooting. It's just watching his game, his mentality is different. And you guys, if you got Avdija, you've got Rui out there, you've got a solid four right there. I mean, you really do. And you almost got Warriors-esque, where your four is pretty solid, and then you put a 5 in there, and it's going to be pretty good. I just think that this roster matches up best for Russell's game in the fact that Harden wanted to shoot more. Whether he needed to, that's a question. Bill, I think, will work fine even. Durant needs to shoot more. If those two just do, they're not going to do what they did in Houston. I don't think that offense was designed to be.
I think D'Antoni,
the problem with that offense is a lot of it is ISO.
D'Antoni, he dug himself a hole in Houston, and I think what they did in Houston is with D'Antoni's offense, they got James Harden into a lot of bad habits.
Bill's not as much ball dominant as Harden is at all.
No, Bradley Beal plays off the ball most of the time.
That's why I think it's going to help. That's why.
That's what I mean by, because Kevin Durant's not ball dominant. He likes to play off the ball a lot of the times too. So that's why, to me, I'm afraid that there's going to be those times where Russell Westbrook just brings the ball up the court and it's Superman ball, where he's just going to try and do it himself. When you and I are both sitting there, and I'm not saying Bradley Beal is as good as Kevin Durant, but when you compare Beal and Kevin Durant's shooting, their shooting ability to Russell Westbrook, I would much rather have those moments where Westbrook does look to kick it to Bradley Beal and let him have the shot.
That's fine.
And so that the biggest X factor to me, I believe, is going to be what Scott Brooks does with this team now, because he's got his old boy back. He was there as soon as Russell Westbrook came in. He was the one that was the head coach of Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant when they made the finals against LeBron's Heat. So I want to see what Scott Brooks does, because I don't want him to just go ahead and tailor-make the offense for Russell Westbrook. I don't think that would be the best offense for this. I think just having him being a good cog and a good piece into playing good team basketball would be fantastic. I've seen Russell Westbrook just go in there at some games, and yeah, he can will you to win some games, but he can't will you to win all the games. And I want him to be able to at least lean upon our all-star, because he is an all-star, in Bradley Beal.
Wall played half the games this year at 32 games. I have no idea what y'all's record is with him or without him. Y'all played 72 and we're 22 games under 500. Houston last year was 16 games over in the West. Looking at last year's Rockets roster compared to your Wizards roster, do you not feel that this Wizards roster is just as good, if not better, than that Rockets roster?
The problem I have is I keep going back to just how young we are.
Mm-hmm.
The youth thing, it nips everybody in the bud. Some of the guys just aren't ready. And if you want to go, so say we just take Russell Westbrook out of the equation because he wasn't.
Russell, then Harden,
Russell's
Bill.
Russell. So I'm saying Russell and Russell. That was what it would be. Russell Westbrook and now Russell Westbrook for us. So let's just say that's the same. They cancel each other out. James Harden is better than Bradley Beal. I'll admit it. He is. James Harden is a phenomenal offensive talent. Mm-hmm. He is. But I don't know. I would have to literally go down the rosters and look back and forth because that's just a testament. We are very young.
Who's gonna be your big man in the middle? Who's gonna be your main center?
That's a very good question. I think that's an even better question. Do we even have one? I thought.
Well, last year 22 games under 500, and I just don't see Westbrook being 22 games.
I think we can be 12 games under 500.
I don't think you're gonna be under 500. You're honestly, Hunter, you're way more pessimistic than I thought. A, you would be, and B, you should be. I think you should.
No,
I'm not saying you should be like, Wizards in the finals like Andre is with the Bucks.
I'm not going out and buying a Russell Westbrook jersey because I don't know. He might only play out the next 2 years that he has available on his contract that we traded for, and then he might bounce. He might say, "See ya," unless he really likes it with us. I don't know. It's Russell Westbrook to me is an enigma because I can sit here and agree with you on everything that you're saying about he is actually really good. He is. But he just doesn't win anything. Mm-hmm. He gets the stats. Do not get me wrong. But that's the same thing we say about James Harden right now is he gets the stats, but he just doesn't win anything. He gets bounced in either second or third round of the NBA playoffs. And
the Wizards haven't been in the finals, I don't think, since '79.
I don't think we're finals bound anyways. But it's just one of those things where.
No, what I'm saying is that if you make it to the second round, Hunter, it's a win.
Oh, yeah.
So I try to tell people about the Hornets thing. They're like, oh, you just want to make it the first round? Yes. Yes, I do.
Yes.
What do you mean do I want to make it the first round? Absolutely. Then I want to make it the second round. And one day, hopefully, in the team's history,
somebody's going to get hurt on the other team.
Make the third round of the playoffs.
And we'll slowly slide our way in.
You're worried about the finals over here. I'm like, well, you could be third or fourth in the East.
If I am a general manager.
Weren't 2 5 seeds in the conference finals?
If I'm a general manager, this is just how I've always would look at something. I will do anything I can to win a championship. I'm not going to be satisfied if I just get a second round appearance.
Why am I on a Verizon card somewhere? No wonder I'm slow as Christmas.
See, that's what mine is. I switched over to a Verizon too, and I'm like, I need the office router.
I don't even know what card is plugged in for that to be on.
I don't know. Because
it's in that bag down there.
I'm sitting here trying
Saturday with Santa Claus.
I'm sitting here trying to get the Wizards lineup just to see if we even have a damn center, and it's just not working. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah, we're connected to the bag, our broadcast bag from Saturday.
All right, hold on, depth chart.
Saturday, KTC got to ride around with Santa around Kings Mountain. He came to town and was waving at the kids and had a great time, Hunter. This year you're so used to when you go out in public, all you see is people frowning or nothing but mask. And Saturday was kind of a breath of fresh air for us riding around Kings Mountain and seeing the hundreds of kids out there,
Santa,
that were just smiling and happy as big as it can get. And Santa made a lot of people happy on Saturday. Driving around Kings Mountain, folks, you can watch that on our YouTube page here if you're watching live now. Kings Mountain Christmas, Santa. We called it the Santa drive-by. I don't know if that's how it was supposed to be worded or not, but it's what we did. We drove by and drove all over the town, waved at kids. And Hunter, there was one lady I got to admit, two little ladies. I ain't say old. I'll say.
How are you going to put this and be nice about it?
Right. One in her 40s, maybe one in her 60s. Okay.
Okay. That's decent.
I think maybe 50s and 60s. Okay.
Okay.
But they're out on their lawn.
Not in their prime anymore.
Right. They were not. They were out on their lawn when we came by, and we were slowing down at the stop
It's
sign.
not an easy way to put that.
We weren't stopping to wave or say hey to them or anything. We was just stopping, and they just happened to be there, and they started waving, "Hey Santa, we love you." And Santa, to his credit, goes, "Have y'all been some good girls this year?"
Oh no.
One of them goes, "Hell no."
Oh God. Man.
Oh, you know, just like, you don't ask questions you don't want the answers to.
I wouldn't ask that at all.
Santa.
If it's not
Y'all been good girls
it's not
this
like
year?
the young, the children asking if they've been good, I'm not asking anybody, you been good this year? No, I might hear something I really don't want to hear.
Oh, that little old lady. Hell no. And it was country, too, if you could imagine.
Yo,
She had a little accent on it, too.
really?
On
From North
that.
Carolina?
She made hell more, is either a 2 or somewhere between a 2 and 5 syllable word. I'm trying to figure out how that came out, but we had a great time, Hunter. All right. Let's talk a couple of college football things here.
Whoop, whoop.
How about the Chanticleers?
How about them?
Chanticleers.
I'm sitting here, and I know it'll be a bad take when we run it on Saturday, but I sat here, and I did look at Terry. I said, you know what? I think BYU will win, but it's not going to hurt my feelings if Coastal Carolina wins. It's not. Congratulations to the Chanticleers. You decided, you did. BYU picked up the phone and called you and said, you want to play? And you said, absolutely, we're going to play. Or was it the other way around? Was it the Chanticleers that had their game against... I think it was the Chanticleers that had their game against Liberty canceled, so they called BYU. But either way...
Whoever was playing Liberty, that was the game that was canceled.
Okay. Well, all right. That's all right. But either way...
Because BYU and Liberty are both independents. And
okay.
that's who they had.
Okay. So, all right then. Well, if that's the case, Coastal Carolina, you did the damn thing. You picked up the phone and said, absolutely, we'll play you. Because BYU needed somebody that they could at least, if they beat them, would look good to try and get them to move up in the college football playoffs in the rankings. Well, guess what? They came to Old Dirty Myrtle, and they didn't like it down there. They said, we're not in Utah anymore. No.
Listen, and Twitter didn't.
Them dirty birds down there in Dirty Myrtle.
The internet did not fail.
No, it didn't fail.
With the jokes.
No, it didn't.
With the jokes.
It's not the first time some cougars went down to Myrtle Beach and got more than what they bargained for.
I saw about 5 different versions of that.
Yeah, I did too. Old Marty Smith from, I don't know if he still works at ESPN. He put one out there on Twitter, and I said, oh my God.
Darren Gant had one. All the Southern guys, everybody that's ever been a reporter and been to Myrtle Beach before had some type of comment on that one. You know, the Cougars getting slammed in Horry County is nothing new, Hunter, by some Chanticleers. Woo!
Man, that's funny.
Let's see. After less than 24 hours, after closing out the regular season with a 41-18 win, Kentucky coach Mark Stoops fires his offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach.
Okay. I see a name on there of a school that I was just reading a story about as well. South Carolina seems to be highlighted. Are they interviewing some of those?
That's who they played.
Oh, that's who they played.
Yeah, that's who they beat. And then
because I'm sitting here, and the most hated villain of Boone has made headlines by listening to South Carolina.
Who?
Old Scott Satterfield.
Where's he at right now?
Louisville. He's the Cardinals head coach. And he had an informal conversation with the University of South Carolina that drew backlash from Louisville's fan base.
Is that a move up?
No.
That's what I'm like.
South Carolina is, they could, you could say right now the state of South Carolina's football program is equivalent to that of the University of Tennessee's, the University of Kentucky's, Vanderbilt's, Arkansas's, and Missouri's. They're all the bottom feeders of the SEC. At one time, that was a prestigious job, especially with the early Steve Spurrier days there. But now, South Carolina, I mean, do you really want to go to Columbia and coach football for a losing team? And the reason why it's really getting a lot of backlash is Scott Satterfield has not been at Louisville but for like a minute.
That's what I'm like.
I think this was his first season there. Now, I mean, he apologized to the fan base, said the only reason he talked to South Carolina was its proximity to where he grew up and spent the bulk of his playing and coaching career. Now,
we've got to let these kids transfer.
I know.
If you're not going to pay them, if you're going to still come out with some type of rule, some type of law that you don't pay these, I don't want to even call them kids because they're not kids or adults. Pay these guys the money that they deserve for you not to let them transfer, and coaches can lie.
Scott Satterfield can be there for 1 year of a contract that he signed to be the coach at Louisville, and then bounce the next year like it's nothing.
I mean, show me. You hate to a broad stroke about this, but Hunter, show me an actual football coach who actually cares about his actual players and students, and not his paycheck, and not how many hot dogs they sell.
What level are you talking about?
Any level. So anyone who cares. Is there anyone who cares? And the only ones that do care, I tell you, the ones that do care are the ones that's been at a school that's been losing for like 10 years.
And just does it because he loves it.
Yeah, right. And those are the guys helping the kids. And you look at these graduation rates in high school and college, and we talked. Terry sent the or Tom sent the thing yesterday about Clemson shutting down its track and field, which wow. I haven't seen the notice on or everything, but I just quickly Google searched the what it costs. So Hunter, Dabo makes $10 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the simple math for you folks out there. Clemson since 1953 has had a track and field program. 51 athletes are currently on the team, half of which share 12 total scholarships, if that makes any sense.
So they split scholarships, 12 scholarships amongst 51 players.
The program was listed on the athletic department's books as having expenses of revenue of $1.3 million. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So expenses are $2.2 million.
So you're just
$900,000 is a lot of money when you think about it. But
you're paying Dabo
when it's 10% of one other person's
salary to coach football.
Right. Now, if Clemson Hunter, and Terry's point was they ain't won no national championships, okay, is that the only point of having college athletes? Now, if Dabo...
I thought scholarships sometimes were just ways for that some of these kids in high school could at least have an opportunity to go to college. Like, sports gives them an avenue. I didn't think that every one of them was like, yeah, we're just going to go win national championships every year.
People don't get how much money is paid to these coaches. So, for example, folks, if they fired Dabo, he would still get his pension. But if they use Dabo's $10 million a year, they could fund the track and field program for 5 years, and that's 51 athletes a year getting to play, getting to compete. 25 of them on
that's 51.
On half
I was going to say 51 students, and only 25 of them are going to be there on a half scholarship anyways. So, I mean,
he could pay for it for 5 years himself on 1 year of football. Clemson's endowment is $774 million, Hunter. They couldn't take $900,000 out of that.
Just split the difference.
And pay for the track. In fact, they couldn't do, and here's what I don't get, Hunter. Is there no, efforts, ability, is no one in the math department or the economics department hey guys, come over here. Help us figure this out.
Right.
Look at our books. There's no counting classes at Clemson. And say, where could we cut money? Should we spend $100,000 on javelins this year? or whatever, just whatever it is.
Right.
Same thing with the football program. Do we need our 10th jersey this year?
How
much is another set of helmets going to cost?
Did we
us?
really need to build this $3 million training facility
Do we need a putt-putt course in the football practice
with a bowling alley
football practice field
for when they're bored?
Right. So,
that only they get to use, not the whole student body. That only the football players get to use too.
Yeah, just football.
Just football.
That's one of the things. So
not other athletic departments. They don't get to use that bowling alley.
There was a big thing at App, and I don't know where it's went, but the year after I graduated, they finished a new call it exercise gym facility at the school, brand new, state of the art, right?
Yeah.
Well, right before I got there, they had just built one. So this thing wasn't 4 or 5 years old before they decided to build another one. But the main one that everybody went to before the new one was built was right next to the football stadium. Well, the football players had always had, and the athletes had their own locker room and gym inside the football stadium, inside their locker room. Okay? They used to have a basketball court that got turned into, man, it's hard to explain. So the main basketball court, Hunter, it runs a long ways.
Mm-hmm.
When they built the new center that's as big as Independence Arena up there, I don't know why we have one that big, but when they built it, they took the old basketball gym, slid back all the bleachers, and they have 5 courts.
Right.
That go sideways. So you understand what I mean? You get my
Yeah, I know
picture?
exactly what you're talking about.
All right, so there used to be there's a weightlifting facility in there as well. So the athletes had those 2 spots to go, and then right when I was leaving the year after too, and they finished the new facility, they announced that the football team was going to take over the old student facility because it had basketball courts, racquetball, other things that
the guys wanted
they
to do.
didn't have,
Right?
And so there was a big fight
because you were
that.
then taking away from the student body and just giving it strictly to the football team,
right?
And which is understandable, especially when we just sit here and we talk about the couple millions of dollars that the school spent to make Clemson their new practice facility that only the football players get to use. That comes with bowling alley and something else in it just for the players. It's like, oh, we're not just going to make a place for you where you go and lift and maybe have an indoor practice if it's raining. No, you want to play bowling? You want to go bowling? You want to play putt-putt? Huh? What else you want? Huh? You ain't never got to leave. And trust me, once you come here, you'll never leave. It's like Hotel California.
In defense of Clemson, there's nowhere else to go. But
well, true. Yeah, but if you sit there and you think about it, and if you're a student at Clemson and you hear us talking about everything that the football players get to do and what they have access to, and you're sitting there saying, well, what the hell am I here for?
Well, there is a lot of sentiment among students when you're sitting there and you're like, because as a student, there's a 90% chance you're paying to be there. Mm-hmm. And if the football player's sitting there not paying to be there, while he's eating steak or whatever he's eating, you're sitting there. You're a lot of people do think that I'm paying for this guy's food, and there is some hostility there. But that's a totally different argument about.
No, I agree. It's just a different argument. But I know what you mean when we sit here and we say, because we talked about it over the summer when they were already making cuts because of COVID to all of these different universities cutting certain programs.
Well, so
and it's weird to me that you wouldn't think that these schools, even though they do have this endowment that for most of them are multi-millions, close to a couple $1 billion.
Most of them are billions.
Billions of dollars. That you don't think they don't have a side fund that's in case there is a problem like this year. I thought that's what this was like it's your rainy day fund.
So here,
if you need it, you can touch it, but you don't always have to touch it, which I agree with. That's fine. You shouldn't always want to dip into your savings account and try and take money out. I agree with that. But in moments like this where, we might not have the revenue this year quite to pick you up. So instead of saying, we're going to cut you, why don't you say, don't worry. Out of our $775 million we have in the bank, we'll lend you a small loan of $900,000 to keep you afloat. Surely that won't break us going forward. But it doesn't work that way, does it? It's just you hate to see it because when you read you read the definition of endowment, and it's supposed to go towards like the growth of the university. And do you not think that I think it was like the growth and the future endeavors of a university or something. It was like the true definition of what an endowment is. And it's weird when you look at it and say, well, sure, they can.
Read this
Yeah, go ahead. Because I'm just saying, it's weird how they don't look at athletics as a way for them to grow their university and to grow people considering to come and go to your university, whether it is through a possibility of a sports scholarship.
You want some smoke blowing up your ass, Hunter?
Yes.
Here you go. Establishing an endowment is to provide Clemson with a financial stability. Endowments are critical as they give back to Clemson in perpetuity. Gifts to endowments are not spent. Rather, they are invested to maximize the return on investment and create income that is used to fund the specific areas designated by the endowment's creator. As the endowment continues to grow through a steady flow of funding each year, it generates greater levels of income and impact. The goal is to ensure that the principal maintains its purchasing power over time to support future generations. The larger endowment is, the greater the income can be provided. Therefore, there are more opportunities available for students, faculty, and strategic university programs.
So that doesn't seem to be the case if you're cutting athletic programs.
I told you want some smoke blown up your
That
ass
doesn't
for
seem to be the
what?
case. You said that. Read that last sentence. Read that last sentence again. The part about increasing something for students and faculty.
The goal is to ensure the principal maintains its purchasing power over time to support future generations. The larger endowment is, the greater the income that can be provided. Therefore, there are more opportunities available for students, faculty, and strategic university programs.
Well, it doesn't seem like there's more opportunities for those track students now, is there? No.
Well, all right.
And what happens now that you're cutting the track department and those kids are on 25 of them are on half scholarships? Does that scholarship just go away now?
Right. Very good question.
Or are you going to use that endowment to keep your students around? Probably not.
Phone charger.
Probably not.
Right there.
It's just it's a joke. The system. Essentially, the beginning is they made it sound like we just collect these funds and never touch it. It's just supposed to sit there. You know, you're not supposed to touch it unless it's for the benefit of the university, to make it better and to grow it in some way, and we will only use it if there will be a good return on investment for us using it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Where do you think the bowling alley money come from, Hunter?
You got 700 and what was it? 750, 775 million dollars.
770 million in
700. So let's just say 770 million in the bank. You think you're just gonna always make a good return on investment with that? You think you're going to make another $770 million the next year? I don't see the mindset that some of these universities have, because when you cut these programs, that doesn't go along with what Clemson's endowment statement says about giving the students and faculty ample opportunities. You're cutting a whole opportunity away from 51 students. All because you were losing $900,000.
Yeah.
From 700 and let's just say you don't even touch that 750.
Think about the decision that was made.
Think about that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Think about it. You don't, and what we've read, it sounds like you don't even touch that endowment much, or else obviously you could have helped out here. So how much money are you really losing though off of the tuition that you make every year, off of all your students, and off of what the football program brings in for all of your other, sports that are supposed to be taken care of from what football money brings in? So I'm just trying to see where that $900,000 is way more than just pocket change to this Clemson University that they're losing. I don't know. Now, to me and you, yes, $900,000 in a loss would be extraordinary. There's no way we could fathom that. We will never financially recover. Clemson, I think they might make that every year, if not more, off of student tuition.
Right. It is 0.116%.
That's 0.00.
0%.
Yes.
0.0. You move decimal overs too, so it's.
You can show your screen.
0. No, I don't know. It's 0.116.
Yes.
of their endowment money
$900,000
just to do track and field
to cover the track and field deficit.
Now I do want. Let's be devil's advocate a minute. I'm gonna be disrespectful for a minute.
Well, you can, because I'm thinking the same thing that you might be saying too.
Maybe not. So
Say it.
A couple of things. One, shutting down the Clemson track and field program is not going to end Olympic athletes in America.
No,
right?
it won't.
Can you name one
from Clemson?
Yeah.
Could not.
Okay. So there's that. Second of all, if you don't make money, what do you do? All the other sports got to deal with this too. Third, would it be better, Hunter, for certain schools not to have certain sports to begin with?
That was my thought.
Granted,
when you said you were going to be kind of downy, because that's what my thought was. Clemson could look at this and literally just say, well, how are we really benefiting from having a track and field team? Right. Like, what changed? And if you do track and field, this is not hate against you, but at the same time, these schools, it's easy for me and you to look at it and say, oh, well, football is going to do a whole lot more than a track and field. You know?
So
some people don't even come out to watch a track and field event. Football brings in about 70,000 people.
Your expenses are $1.3 million and your losses are $900,000. Seems like to me there's some money room in there to be able to do some math and figure out how to fix it, how not to lose the program if it's that important. Think again, like what you just said a minute ago. Clemson made the decision that it was more important to save $900,000 than it is for 51 athletes and 25 of them to have split
scholarships.
Like, it's more important that we save this, that we don't take out 0.01% of our endowment to save that program. And what's it worth to us? Well, we'll find out if it was. I mean, it was definitely worth $1.3 million because that's the revenue they made off track and field.
That's what they made.
They made $1.3 million off Clemson track and field.
I have to sit here, and it's a very hard. I have a hard time sitting here and thinking of how the hell a track and field team costs $2 million to run.
Other than like hotels.
Hotels fine, and maybe however much you have on those scholarships that they have to. Oh wait, fucking half.
Repair ourselves.
Yeah,
and it's only half.
It's only
12
half.
Scholarships. Let's just say 12 scholarships.
Like 12 scholarships.
12 scholarships on a 50-person team. The school thought it would be better not to have 12 scholarships.
I mean, for God's sakes, football's got what, 80 scholarships?
Do you think those 12 scholarships, Hunter?
And they don't have to have them.
Let's do out of state tuition at Clemson, because you know that's probably where most of their athletes come from anyway.
Yeah, majority of them.
Also, like, on these, these non-revenue based sports, should these schools be more or less required almost to? Yeah, I know it'd be weird, kind of like, could the NCAA institute a rule that says, you can't.
You can't have a sport that doesn't generate revenue.
Well,
because to me, then that would be borderline of just an intramural. It's not generating
instead of bringing in. What I was going to say is you only bring in in-state students.
Well, yeah.
I tell you who would probably require that first would be the actual state of North Carolina. So they would say, hey, all you state schools, all these non-revenue making, how about we give these scholarships to in-state students?
Right.
You guys, who care? You're not, a national championship in cross country is not bringing prestige to whatever school you're at, whatever state you're in.
No.
So again, to be disrespectful, I said I was going to be even more. Here's some more. Track and field, is it really a sport?
Yes,
again,
but
you'll talk to football players or basketball players. They'll say, track and field is practice for my sport.
Yeah, that's why they usually do both. Majority of them, if they can do both.
But say you'll go to football practice, Hunter. I'll run sprints. I'll run gassers. I'll do side-to-side slides. I'll do up-downs. I'll do Oklahoma drill, whatever it is. And you'll practice for 3 hours, right? And you do all that working out. You may have practiced football a total of 30 minutes of all that. And then someone says, well, I'm going to track and field practice. So what are you doing today? Well, I got to run 100 yards 5 times.
I got to do 40 yard sprints. I got to do sprints.
Some 40 yard sprints. Okay, well, I did that and 75 other things this afternoon. Like, and then some people, like, being fast is an ability, not a skill. So, granted, at that level, you need skills, obviously. But what some people, again, will be disrespectful and be like, tracks is practice for other sports.
It's just tough for me to see them cut away opportunities.
Right. Nobody likes that part.
Nobody likes to see them cut away opportunities for people to have a chance at going to college. Because for a lot of kids, sometimes that's first generation that they're going to college because they know they can get a scholarship at it. Now, what that does to me is if I am a kid and I'm looking at track and field, of course, but, I was just looking at colleges in general, but I knew I could get a track and field scholarship. I'd have no desire, whether or not I live 15 minutes from the university or not, to go to Clemson. My family, I could have grown up a Clemson fan, but if I had an opportunity to go to school for track and field, it's like, oh, Clemson, I have no reason to want to even look at you anymore. So to me, it's tough, and that's why I don't understand why they don't dip into the endowment, because that's not benefiting the school. If anything, that's turning students away from your school.
We'll see how insidious this really is, Hunter.
Okay.
I just did some quick math.
Quick math.
And it showed some insidiousness.
Quick math.
You said 12 scholarships, right, Hunter?
Yeah.
What's 12 times 2?
24.
They said 24 people split the scholarships, right?
Mm-hmm.
$900,000 divided by the out-of-state tuition.
It's
24.
Well, yeah. Round up's 24.
24 students.
So they're basically
the exact number that they're having to pay for. They're basically saying we don't want to pay ourselves.
We don't want to pay. Yeah, we don't want to pay ourselves for their scholarships. We don't want to essentially pay their scholarship. That's what they're saying. If you do that,
that math.
If you
did
so clean
that
math works
so
out
easy.
fine.
It did. I didn't.
So they're looking at about a $900,000 loss. Let's just go from the top and we'll just look at the insidiousness of this. The track and field team at Clemson brings in about $1.something million a year.
1.3.
1.3. The cost to run the track and field team is 2.2. Okay, so there's just about a $900,000 difference. Mm-hmm. Now, are you following us, people? Are you starting to put the puzzle pieces together? We looked at
out-of-state
tuition,
which is $38,000.
$38,000 a piece.
The 900 divided by 38 equals 24.
Equals 24, and there are 24
shared
scholarships.
Now, Hunter, what's even kind of worse about it is basically if you think about that math, I'm like, so Clemson's shutting down over having to pay them scholarships. There's 24 people that are getting the scholarships. There's only 12 scholarships. So basically, if they just cut 12 scholarships and had no scholarship players on the track and field team, they would still have 39 people on the team and could pay for it.
Exactly.
So with no scholarships, with $1.3 million they make, they could pay for the 37 people.
Yeah.
To still be on the team and compete with no extra money. But if they're going to pay themselves that $900 extra, if they have to give out those 12 scholarships, they shut down the program. You want to tell me things aren't about money?
Shitty.
Things aren't about money at all. That's just nuts.
But see, what's so crazy is if it wasn't for what we talk about here on this show, nobody else is talking about that. Nobody would have sat down and thought about, let's do the quick math here. And sure, it might be fuzzy math. We're just sitting here guessing that might be it. But damn, the math came out about equal to that $900,000 that Clemson is very upset that they lose every year for this track and field team. It just doesn't make any sense. And even then, you can look at it and say, well, if you take away the scholarships, then you're taking away, Hunter, what you were talking about, saying you're giving the kids opportunities to go to school. That's exactly my point. Why I don't understand why Clemson would think that anyways. Like, you're cutting off opportunities for people to come to your university. But you know what? Hey, they don't want to pay $900,000 a year on scholarships. Scholarships.
So...
Ooh, I'm malding now.
I just want to give a warning to you Louisville fans about Satterfield. If you hire a coach and the reason he comes is because you doubled his salary, don't be surprised in 2 to 5 years if someone else offers him more money
and he
don't
leaves.
like your shitty school and he wants to go to another school.
Right.
For the same price / even more money. Think about it. Satterfield, let's say he's making $500,000 at Appalachian. Louisville pays him $1.2 million. Well, what if you go to Louisville, Kentucky and don't like Louisville, Kentucky?
Shit.
2 years later, another school says, well, you've done decent there. How about we give you $2 million? So basically, Hunter, It may be the same level job, South Carolina, Louisville,
Mm-hmm.
but Satterfield would be quadrupling his Appalachian State salary. And that's the thing that they're not quite looking at is that, hey, I did it. And I told the folks when he left, it's like, same thing with Drinkwitz. Drinkwitz was there for 1 year and got a raise and was gone.
Yeah, he went to Missouri.
So, yeah, I'm going to go to Missouri. Powerhouse football team.
I think Satterfield's been
spanked
at
every
Louisville for at least maybe 2 years.
He has a lot better chance of winning at Louisville than Drinkwitz does at Missouri. Does he not?
And think about it. Now Satterfield's thinking about joining the same conference.
Yeah.
Well, he's denying. He said, I was just listening to them.
just
Come
want
on
that
now,
money.
shut up.
So
You know what happens every time a story comes out that such and such had an interview with a school? He's going to downplay it, and then here when the season's over, he's going to accept the job. So,
All right, Hunter, I got to run down the hall real quick. If you look at our new playoff bracket, we've had movement and changes, and a new team has entered the fray.
we do have movement. Would you look at that?
Movement and changes. I'll let you kind of talk about that a little bit. If you'll notice, Hunter, I did you a little favor as well.
Mm-hmm.
In the bottom right corner, except in the top left, I messed up. I
That's
put in
there.
the actual AP rankings
Got
for
it.
you.
Look
so
at that.
you can look at that and say, this is what the matchup looks like. So I'm going
Okay.
to give you a few minutes of marinating on that as I run down the hall.
All right. Now, let us jump into, ladies and gentlemen, the KTC Broadcasting College Football Playoff. This is our poll. This is what would happen if we, here at KTC Broadcasting, were the end-all, be-all, say-all for the College Football Playoff. As you can see, we would have at least 16 teams. The top 5 are your Power 5 conference champions. The next 5 are those that came in second in the Power 5 conferences. That means they lost the conference championship game. Then the next 5, to fill out through 15, are the group of 5 champions. And then 16 is held by, in this case, I like saying the best ranked independent. The best independent in the nation. Because unlike this year, usually Notre Dame is an independent, and they usually have a very good record. So they would get in there at 16. So with that, Alabama and BYU. In our poll, our ranking, that would be a 1 versus 16 matchup. Alabama is 1, BYU is 16. In the polls for the AP, Alabama is in fact ranked number 1. BYU is ranked 14th. So that's actually a very semi-close matchup to what the AP poll was deciding. Below that, number 8, Oklahoma, would be facing number 9, Northwestern. In the AP ranking, Oklahoma is 13th. Northwestern, it looks like it's 15th. That's kind of far away. I can't see. Yes, 15th. The next one, Iowa State, the 4 seed, would be facing the 13 seed, Buffalo Bulls. Iowa State is the 10th ranked team in the AP polls. The Buffalo Bulls are the 24th. Down at the bottom, the USC Trojans. They are 16th in the AP poll. They're 5th in ours. They would be playing the 12th seed in ours, Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, who, in the AP poll, is ranked 11th. Now we're going to jump over to the other side. San Jose State makes their grand entrance into our poll. They are sitting there at the 15th seed. They are, I think that says 28th in the country. So not quite top 25, but they are 15th in our poll. Notre Dame, number 2. They're also second in the nation. Washington, sitting there at the 10 spot. They are 31st in the AP poll. They would be facing Florida Gators, who are 7th, and also 6th in the AP poll. 14 seed would be Marshall. They are 27th in the nation in the AP poll. They would be playing Ohio State, who is 3rd in our poll and 3rd in the nation in the AP poll. Then the final matchup that we have is Cincinnati, 11th seed. Clemson is the 6th seed. And national rankings for AP, Clemson is 4th, Cincinnati is 7th. Now, I look at that and I say, I love some of the matchups that we have. Some people would say there's no way, especially after what Coastal Carolina and BYU went around this year, that BYU would have any chance against Alabama. I don't think anybody that you put in at a 16 seed really is going to have a chance against the 1 seed. Very rarely do we have those kind of upsets. So in football-wise, who really gives a shit, okay? But if you look at this overall, I think the Oklahoma Northwestern would be a good matchup. I think Washington would get routed by Florida, but that still would be a better matchup than Florida playing some no-name. I think Cincinnati and Clemson would be a fantastic game, too.
Oh, you do?
I had to sneeze.
All right,
I had to sneeze.
All right, so welcome back for me, for you folks listening. So San Jose State did jump in, 28th now in the AP voting. Washington down at 31, Marshall at 27. So, of course, this brings up for the elitists like Thompson, Afani, and the Ohio State fans. They don't like this at all. They don't like the predetermined seating, I guess is the best way.
Right.
To the way that we want to do this, and the reason for it is because if you do this, there is no arguments. Our thing is the biggest problem of college is the arguments, is the who's better than who, as opposed to let's settle it on the field. And here's where obviously when we look down here's where the elitists will get upset. Texas A&M, Indiana, Miami, and Georgia do not make the playoffs, Hunter. And our response, like Terry said, was you can't be in it if you ain't in it, or you can't win it if you ain't in it. And if you're not in the top two
of your respective conference,
like how low do we have to go to put teams in? And it's not fair the way they do it now, to where 2 teams from the ACC can get in, and you're a champion of the Pac or Big 12, and you're not going to get in.
Yeah,
and it's to tell me that that's more fair, that based on our opinion is better than based on what happens on the field, is just crazy to me. I guess the question now, Hunter, is, if Northwestern beats Ohio State, they definitely got the argument to be in, but I guess they'll get their shot at them. Ohio State's question, everybody, is 7 wins, is 7-0 enough to get in?
I've talked to multiple people. It says that there's no way that, and especially if you wanted to use the way basketball does it and go by, look at who you played and who you beat. Ohio State ain't beat shit. Sure, Indiana was a tough play, but now Indiana's quarterback's out for the year with a torn ACL. But even though they still played good this past weekend, it's just one of those things where who have you played? But
an 8-0 with wins over Northwestern and Indiana,
that would be tough.
You'd have to about say
that would be tough. Yes, it's just
the question is, people, with this year, it's just not necessarily just this
but
year.
The problem then comes
people
down.
Hate seeing 3rd place teams get in over, or even 2nd place teams get in.
I don't like seeing 2nd place teams
over their champion,
and that's what is looking like is going to happen with Notre Dame and Clemson. But I'll tell you what, do not be surprised if in the ACC championship game, if Clemson beats Notre Dame, Notre Dame's no longer in the top 4, which will be hypocritical, I think.
I think what the you can write it down right now. Here's your seeds, and this is what they want. Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Ohio State 3, Notre Dame 4.
I don't think so.
And then Clemson and Notre Dame wouldn't have to play each other to the championship game.
Do you know why I don't think
that's what they want?
I don't think they want Notre Dame in. I don't.
Hunter, that's ratings. That's like saying you don't want the Cowboys in.
I know.
If the voters got to vote every year, the Cowboys would be in.
Do you know why I don't think they want Notre Dame in, though? Because look who the 2 are that are sitting there at 5 and 6. ESPN has got a contract with the SEC for a reason.
But Notre Dame's still got more fans than A&M and Florida will.
I don't know about
hard.
Florida.
If you're arguing that
now A&M, they will have more fans in, but I don't know about Florida. And Florida's going to be the one. Here's the problem that Florida's going to run into. They're going to have to play Bama in the SEC championship game. They're probably going to lose. That's just how that's going to work. So they're going to finish 2nd. Notre Dame, it's just going to be. You got to keep your eye on it. Will they do it? I can't promise you, but it would be hypocritical if Clemson does beat Notre Dame. I'm not saying that I want them to do it. I think Notre Dame should make it if Clemson beats them in the ACC tournament. But it would be, or ACC championship, but it would be hypocritical if they dropped Notre Dame out of the top 4 for losing 1 game against Clemson, even though when Notre Dame beat Clemson, all Clemson did was drop to 4. and they stayed in the top 4. To me, that would just be hypocritical if they didn't just flip-flop and they just dropped Notre Dame completely out for maybe the Pac-12. Because think about it. What if a Pac-12 team goes undefeated and they have 6 or 7 wins, 7-0, the same as Ohio State, who went 7-0?
Well, Clemson
it's just going to be
have another game to the championship game.
No, I know they don't.
God, it's like next week. People, I didn't realize, Hunter, that this was supposed to be the week that they announced the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're behind, folks. Like this is the week that they're supposed to announce the Final Four.
Oh yeah, we're getting down to the end because what was it? December 20th
is the
December
ACC
19th is the
game.
ACC championship, and December 20th was the hard cutoff that these teams had to get their games in, because then they started wanting to get bowl games in. But now I'm seeing bowl games, they're getting canceled left and right. And to me, I'm looking now at some of these teams, I'm like, that would have been in the position to make that bowl game due to the qualifier that gets you into that bowl game, whether you finish like second or third in a certain, the qualifiers get you in there. Now I'm looking at these guys that played the season. I'm like, well, damn, they should have announced earlier that they were going to cancel these bowl games. You'd have seen more kids opt out. Because what are they playing for now?
You're 100% right.
What are they playing for now?
And I read an article yesterday. I meant to save it to talk about that. And Hunter, you're 100% right. You hit the nail on the head. Is that I hate to be the conspiracy guy or the bad thinker, but do you not think that maybe they knew and just didn't tell them? Do you not?
Do you think the NCAA were going to knew that
they knew these? Some of these bowl games are getting these meaningless bowl games are getting canceled,
right?
By some of these.
The Pinstripe Bowl got canceled. Well, it's for New York.
The state legislators or governors, whoever's in charge of these things, I think one of them made the argument of, so you're telling me in our county, which has got record number high, whatever cases, or I don't know what it was,
right? That
we're going to play a football game so these two colleges can make $1 million all free labor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing. It's free labor, and you're getting in these coaches, and I've said before and time again, that it's basically college sports is basically legalized betting. Because the Coach K, if I make the Sweet 16, I get $1 million. Well, you're playing a game, and there's $1 million bag of cash sitting right there. That's what we're doing. And what you're talking about.
To me, it's just weird how for some of these bowl games, you couldn't just say, we're going to play in a different state. Because the one that's the real...
One of them did move. I did see. I think one of them was trying to move.
That's smart.
Yeah.
The one to me that needs to move, and some people are going to scream, how the hell could you say that, is the Rose Bowl. And the reason why the Rose Bowl needs to move is because you're telling me that the quoted granddaddy of them all, Rose Bowl, is going to be played with no fans. There's no fans going to be allowed at the Rose Bowl. Hell, how do you even have a Rose Bowl parade and have nobody there?
They had the Macy's Day Parade.
That's what I'm saying. But here's but what I'm getting at is the Rose Bowl and some of these bigger bowl games. You know good and well that some of those sponsors would appreciate it if they had people there for that game. The Rose Bowl has been played outside of California one time. Do you know where it was played?
I do know the answer to this.
You do, because I know the answer.
What in Orlando was it?
North Carolina. It was played in Durham during the war. Now,
we talked about this last year.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Point.
I'm not saying that you have to come back and play in Durham, but you can go and play in a state that will at least allow you to have a certain amount of capacity of fans to at least make the Rose Bowl still feel like the Rose Bowl. To still have the pageantry that everybody likes about it. You still have the poinsettias around. I don't care where you go. You can get some of them fake-ass poinsettias from Walmart for all I give a shit about and put them out there. It does not have to be played at the Coliseum in California. Pick up the Rose Bowl and let's just play it somewhere else. The same thing can go with some of these other bowls. That's what I would much rather them do, to give the kids that didn't opt out because they said, well, we still have an opportunity to play for a good bowl game or, maybe some exposure on television, whatever their reason was, instead of just coming out now that the season is over and saying, oh, we're going to cancel it. I'm sorry, guys. Do you forgive us? I'm sorry.
Well,
we're sorry.
What if we had a
Such bullshit. KTC will have a bowl.
Where's the championship supposed to be this year?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Shouldn't they have it in Jerry World and have a bubble?
God, yeah. You could freaking split Jerry World up for all I care.
Well, that's another. I guess that's another point too. You could have 2 games, but like,
I mean, that's
what I'm saying is, you find an AstroTurf Dome stadium where you could run the games in.
College football playoff
in one city.
Or college football championship 2020 is to be played in Mercedes-Benz Superdome, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Send all the teams down there.
Just send all of them. I don't care.
It's only 4 teams. You send 2 teams home after 1 week and then go.
I'd do it. Play them on the same place.
In fact, fly in the teams the day before the games on Friday.
Test them if you want to.
Speaking of which, I want to make one rule change if I was the king of college, besides paying them. But why are the championships on Mondays?
I don't know. It's weird.
That pisses me off more than anything in this world.
I'd much rather be like a
Especially as
Saturday
college
night,
student.
Saturday night or Sunday night. But even Sunday nights for football, or NFL. It's weird.
But again, all your games are on Saturday. Half your games in basketball are on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And yet, the national championship games are on Monday night where college kids, Hunter, can't get drunk and celebrate. I know that's not the main reason for you should move it so the college kids get drunk, but damn, I'm telling you, when I was in school, we were like, why is this on a Monday night?
Right.
Why are we not playing Saturday? The Super Bowl Sunday. Why is it not Super Bowl Saturday or whatever they want to call it in college?
Yeah, why do I have to watch the Super Bowl and then get up the next day for work?
All championships should be on Saturdays. It should be Super Bowl Saturday, college football Saturday, and all of that. So, looking at our brackets, we'd have San Jose State in, Washington snuck in or still in, and they'd be going to Gators. Marshall at Ohio State, Cincinnati at Clemson, be a good matchup. Coastal, 12-5 would actually be ranked higher, Hunter, than their opponents. The only one on the board like that. Iowa State 10, Buffalo 24, Northwestern 15, and Oklahoma 13 will be playing each other. Here's what I just want to read this to you.
Yeah.
So, the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers.
Yeah.
Beat the number whatever team in the nation was, 9 or 11 they were. Their quarterback went 10 of 15, no touchdowns, and won. Remember, he did that against App and won.
Mm-hmm. No, they ran for like 200-something yards, though.
Right. Again,
Coastal, they ran over everybody.
54 carries, 281 yards rushing. Like, this team cannot pass.
No, they
but
can't.
They cannot be beat. So, looking at that stat, I also wanted to read you this stat line this weekend from New England.
Oh, it was.
Did you see Cam's stats? This week and last week, Cam has just been horrendous as far as passing, and he's won them both. Here's this week. Oh, God. Let's see. Hunter, if I told you your quarterback would be 12 of 19 for 69 yards, and the other team didn't lose a fumble and didn't throw a pick six, but I told you your team won 45-0. Would that make any sense in your head whatsoever? Hunter, you won 45-0. Your quarterback didn't throw but for 69 yards, and the other team didn't give up a pick six or they didn't fumble one time. But you won 45-0.
Special teams is a third of the game.
I was about to say, how would you explain that?
Special teams is a third of the game.
NC State beat Liberty on a safety and a blocked field goal.
Yeah, I know. People keep saying, special teams isn't that important. Well, apparently it is.
It's huge. It is. It's either really if it's bad, you're going to suffer. If it's mediocre, you might suffer. You can get by, but if it's good, you can survive. But damn, the 85 yards from him against them with a win. And then I want to look at New England again, back-to-back weeks. So Cam had 69 yards this week. Last week,
I think he only had like 80-something.
That's what I was thinking it was last week. Last week's game was just maybe even worse. I'm trying to get it to as quick as I can. As we switch over to NFL to finish this up. Last week he had 84 yards.
Yeah, I mean,
in back-to-back weeks, your quarterbacks had 84 yards and 69 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and you've won both of them.
Their run game is really good.
A combined 65-17.
It's weird, man. It's weird. It's a testament, really, to the good coaching of Belichick and his staff that they're even winning these ball games. Mm-hmm. They've had to obviously make some very substantial changes from when Tom Brady was at the quarterback position. If I'm New England going forward, I say, obviously we know Cam's not the answer, but it's okay. We can still win.
When we do it this year, or just
no, just going forward.
Oh,
I don't know about this year. I mean, Miami's good. The Bills are good.
You know, honestly, does Belichick bring Cam back?
No.
After the, I mean, does he want to go through another year of, even if Belichick's best case scenario, let's say if we bring Cam back and we make our defense top 10, do I want to compete every week with a quarterback throwing under 150 yards a game?
No, that's not the NFL today. That doesn't work. Very rarely do you have 2 back-to-back games where you win, where you threw sub 100 yards. Only person that did that I can think of last was Ryan Tannehill in the playoff games. That's because Derrick Henry was running for 200-plus yards a game.
Yeah, like, I just, man, Hunter, that's... How do you do that?
Super Cam is just not Super Cam anymore.
I mean,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Now, bear with me. This is the reason I picked them to win the division. Is Belichick's doing what I thought he could do, even with a depleted defense. It's good coaching. It's good coaching, especially on defense, because you just knowing where to be is 99% of the. You know, you be the fastest person in the world, Hunter, but if I'm not standing within 5 feet of Randy Moss when they throw it to him, it doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
So, like, you know, he's doing good coaching the defense. The offense is obviously struggling. But I picked him to win the division on an average Cam Newton, if he runs the ball well, and this division's bad. I didn't think Miami would be this good, but I picked him to win it because of that. And I mean, in all fairness to Cam, he's not been good at all.
No.
And so them at 6-6 with a bad Cam is kind of expected, because I had him at like 11 or 12 wins with a good Cam. And I thought if anybody can win playing Cam Newton football, it is Belichick, because he likes to play defense, likes to keep it close, likes to run the ball. Cam's not a big turnover guy, and I think that's the biggest reason.
This year he is.
He's. I think I think that's the biggest reason, Hunter, that maybe that it has worked, is that he hasn't been too terrible. The first few weeks he turned over. The last couple weeks he hasn't really been terrible. He's never really just been bad picks. Like, he just don't throw. Like, Cam don't have misreads, and he throws it to someone that's just not. He throws high,
overthrows somebody.
If he throws high, and there's a safety behind him. And then a lot of them are deflected passes because he throws 1,000 miles per hour into a crowd, as opposed to he don't throw them like a lot of times. Cam, you know, you'll see quarterbacks, especially young guys, Hurts came in Saturday. He threw a pick. Well, he threw a pick on a curl route. The receiver hadn't even curled yet, and the defender just turned around and stood there and caught that. That's not a Cam Newton pick. A Cam Newton pick is trying to fit it in there with that defender. And making a play and throwing a pick, coaches will live with, as opposed to, you know, making a wrong read on that. Hunter, this is one thing I wanted to touch on. Did you see this Eagles backdoor cover against the Seahawks last weekend? You know anything about this?
Are you talking about the safety?
No.
No.
Let me pull.
Then I don't know.
So let me pull up the game, and I'll get to it just a second. So a bettor lost $500,000 on this game. So, and here's where it gets fishy, Hunter. Seahawks were up
Oh, it's because they went for 2, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah. I had to think of. I knew it was something that was a lot of controversy.
So if people, I'm one of those people that thinks everything is fixed or can be fixed. Okay, and what I mean by that, you can easily pay a referee or pay someone in charge. Everyone can be bought. Everyone has a price on something for everything. Is kind of my opinion on this stuff. So the Eagles score. let's do the play-by-play on this. Eagles were down 23-9, Hunter.
Yeah.
And then they scored. Let me see the last with how much time's left. Get this, 12 seconds on the clock. 23-9 with 12 seconds on the clock. The Eagles score. Cuts it to 23-15. An extra point makes it a 7-point game.
Mm-hmm.
In every NFL game you've ever seen in your life, have you ever seen a team down 8 go for 2?
No, they usually just try and
your life.
They try to just
high
get to
school,
7.
College.
So all you need.
Pop Warner.
Because think about it, if you miss 2-point conversion, you're screwed.
Over.
You're screwed.
If you miss the 2, the game's over.
Yeah.
So you give yourself a chance to win. You kick the 1.
Uh-huh.
And then if you want to go for 2 the next time to win,
Fine.
here you go.
Right.
But Hunter, with 12 seconds left, and your team scores a touchdown to cut it to 8, what reasoning do you have to go for 2? Unless you know the spread. And I'm not saying the coaches had money on the game. Maybe the NFL's got some ties to gambling. Maybe so. What I'm saying is that's the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever seen, and it 100% proves my theory that everything is fixed for these gamblers when we have this random ass shit sometimes. They went for 2. The spread was, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
6.5.
6.5. With 12 seconds in the game, no reason to go for 2, down 8. They went for 2 and covered
the 6.5-point spread.
Why would a football coach care about the spread, Hunter?
They usually don't.
Why the hell is Pete Rose not in the Hall of Fame if that just happened?
I don't know.
Can you give me any other reason that? No, I'm not saying who fixed it. Whether it's the Eagles, the players, the coaches, or the NFL, or the referees, or
Vegas.
Whoever did it. Was that game fixed?
I can't comment or speculate.
Above or below 50% chance that game was fixed. You just want to believe in real life so much, Hunter, don't you?
Above.
You just can't do it. You just can't believe these things are fake. These things are fixed. That sports isn't real. That it would break our hearts. It would, I understand.
God forbid it's an entertainment business.
Right.
Well, wait, that's what it is.
And the funniest thing about that, again, when we were talking about the colleges a little while ago, is what are they really playing for other than to entertain people with free labor?
Millions of dollars.
And to make millions and millions of dollars. This shit ain't right.
But
you don't go for 2 down 8.
Kevin, you
12
technically
seconds.
can say, well, technically it is nothing but a whole entertainment because all they play for is a hunk of metal at the end of the year. At least that's what they tell. At least that's what Rob Manfred would say it is, a hunk of metal. That's all they play for at the end of the year. Bragging rights and a hunk of metal. And for the players to get millions of dollars.
I mean, that's the commissioner. It's for them to make money.
Oh, I know.
Like it's just at what point do you know where people get jaded by things, but just what point do professional athletes, is it your second contract or when do you find out that man none of these people actually give a shit about winning or the fans at all? This isn't fun.
It's called looking at the Jacksonville and New York Jets and looking at what's another bad team that just stays bad?
Detroit.
I mean,
Cincinnati.
I mean, what have they really?
Bengals at least been to 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but they ain't won, and they're the cheapest team in NFL. I don't know. It's you can look at it like that cynically, but then it ruins your watching experience. So it
does.
That's what.
That's
it does.
how I watch. That's why I'm like, it does. I can't say it does. It's like when we watch other shows and I'm looking at the artwork and stuff. I'm not watching TV to me is not entertaining at all anymore.
No, I don't watch TV
Like
anymore.
every show, everything is just it's fake or drama or it's I don't know. It's the type of thing. Why I'm clicking on something that has nothing to do with string theory. Is the NFL? I'm trying to click on this where they admitted that they were a business. I mean, an entertainment business, like the WWE. So here's the article that they're reading. So I've mentioned this before, that in the past, the NFL so you get the fine print on your tickets.
Yeah.
And in the NFL has had to admit and put in the fine print. Basically, they've admitted that in court and stuff that they are like the WWE and a business that can fix their outcomes. Because people were trying to sue over like say star players, like especially like in the NBA, like you'd make a bet and it'd sit out and things like that. So that's part of the argument. I'll do the. I just typed in trying to find the exact case. Here it is. Did you guys know the NFL is legally classified as sports entertainment? It means it's just a show, so technically it is rigged. It's legally classified as sports entertainment. It's so they can't get sued. Some lawyers sued the Patriots a few years back. This is over the Patriots stuff, over all the cheating and everything. And the judge dismissed the case, saying the NFL is for entertainment purposes only. The back of your ticket, the NFL games, has some legal justification that protects the NFL regarding the outcome of games. So it's actually printed on the ticket as far as the outcomes of games. So that's what I was kind of getting at. I'll find the exact ruling on it at some point to discuss. But for the most part, Hunter, that and people don't get it or understand it, is that they've admitted that they are and they can do it. And then when you see those covers like that, just for gambling purpose only, it makes you think, and especially when one guy lost $500,000 on that.
That's a big loss, dude. That's a big loss.
$500,000 bet on a cover of a game, and you get beat, Hunter, on a backdoor team going for two. You don't think that guy wants to cut somebody? You don't think that guy's upset?
Yeah.
Think about how mad that person is.
He'll be
Someone
mad
could have got
the
killed
year.
over this, and that's what we're doing. 6.5 point favorites went for 2, down 8. Like that's not even. It's different, Hunter, if they got the 7, and the spread was 7.5 on the extra point. But they literally went for the 2 to cover the spread, and that's it. That's the only justification you can give me for covering the spread, and that's what makes me mad about the things like that. I can't think of one. Like why would you go for 2?
You don't have a reason.
Was they trying to get 2 field goals? Like, well, what's the reason?
You had 12 seconds left, so you had to have a Hail Mary anyways. Yeah, first of all, you had to get the onside kick, so I don't know. It's strange.
It is, isn't it?
It's strange.
Totally. I definitely wanted your input on their shenanigans on that one. Let's see, I had a couple more other things here before we get out of here today. Cowboys Martin, that could be done for the season.
The calf.
They're done anyway.
Yeah.
I think they're done, period, Hunter. I think it would be smart to totally dismantle the team. If you have the 32nd best defense in the NFL, you've already dismantled your team. Put it that way.
And you didn't even lose much last year.
Right. And so by being 32nd in the league, you don't pay a quarterback $35 million.
Or 40 this year on a franchise.
You don't keep your $17 million wide receiver. I'd really think about getting rid of your $15 million running back. So with all that,
you could fill those spots in the draft.
And one of the main reasons, what made the Cowboys good the last few years was their linemen, and now they don't have them. They're all gone. Frederick's retired. Martin's out again. I keep wanting to call him Flozell Adams. What's our left tackle's name? We've had Eric Williams, Flozell, and then who's our left tackle? Tyron Young. Tyron Smith. We've had some wonderful left tackles over the past 20, 30 years in Dallas. Some big old boys. But he's been in and out. So I don't know about that. Did you see Greg Williams get fired?
I did, and a lot of people are just okay with it. They said they're not surprised.
You think he got fired on purpose?
Yes, I think he got.
I was wondering.
I think he got fired on purpose, and I also think that they should have done a double firing that day because Adam Gase should have been fired at the same time. I don't know.
That's insane.
He still has his job though, and that's it. Just the Jets are just another dumpster fire. I think they're in a position where, just like Dallas, they could say we're blowing everything up too.
Their problem is they just been a number. Wasn't Darnold one overall?
No, excuse me. He was third.
Who was one?
Baker.
Oh, that was the Baker draft.
That was Baker's draft.
Same thing with Cleveland. Like, put it this way: if Darnold and Baker's flip spots, would both teams probably not have the same record?
Probably. It's just situation.
In most quarterbacks, is it not? And Baker hasn't done anything to make me say, God, we got to have him. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt do that. I mean, those boys can run. They're good. That's the best running back combo in the league. I love some Nick Chubb. If the defense just gets any dog in them whatsoever, they were attacking Tennessee yesterday. I mean, they were coming at them. If they get any dog in them, they'll be good. And Baker fits that city and that mentality like that. But again, like Zach made a comment about Baker being Jim McMahon, man. He's right on it with that. So Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, where are these all guys going to be next year?
Listen, there's a team that is so up to their ears in cap that I would not be surprised if they try and move one quarterback for the other, and that's Chicago. Chicago is so up to their ears in cap, they got to either dump Nick Foles, they got to Mitch Trubisky, they're probably not going to pick up his fifth-year option, so he'll be available. If they dump Nick Foles, trade him to the Jets, say trade him back to Philadelphia, and they get Carson Wentz or Sam Darnold, their defense is going to be sending them the front office a thank you card.
See, I think we have in the league 5-6 quarterbacks, and I don't want to name off the top of my head, that as long as they play all 16 games, they're going to have a winning record. The rest of them are entirely dependent on their defenses and their teams. Nick Foles, for example, Super Bowl MVP. They're 5-7. They just got benched for Trubisky. Like, he just didn't get benched for him. Like, what makes you think it's going to get? He got better sitting over there for 5 games. Like, that's the thing. Whether you think Foles is playing good or not, what makes you think he got better? And you bring him in, and guess who he loses to? The Detroit Lions. That's not good. So this week, Hunter, we actually took them out of my power rankings. The Bears have been kicked out.
I don't blame you.
Of my power rankings. 7 losses. You're going to get it done in the NFC.
Don't blame me.
You lose to the Detroit Lions. That's the death knell for me. So right now, Cardinals are out of the playoffs. Like Colin Coward said earlier today, Hunter, your boy, if it wasn't for Hail Mary, they would have lost 5 straight games.
Yes.
New England is 6-6. Just talked about them. The inconsistent Raiders at 7-5. Ravens, I don't know if I've seen them play a football game in 3 weeks.
They play tomorrow night.
Cowboys, right?
Yep.
So they'll have Cowboys tomorrow at 6-5. The NFC East here at 14 has been eliminated. I'm just going to leave that highlighted. The Vikings, for the first time this year, Hunter, are in the playoffs. I've been holding tight on them. I almost eliminated them 1 week. I almost got rid of them and said their path is easier than whatever other team it was. It might have been the Chargers that week or Texans for some reason. I was thinking. I thought the path for Minnesota was easier than those guys. They are now in the 13th spot. Dolphins at 12, 8-4. Fitzmagic keeping it done. I think he keeps the job for the rest of the year. Is there any reason to go to
Tua? Played.
I thought Fitzmagic played.
I thought Tua played.
Well, I could be wrong then. Let me make sure.
I could have swore that Tua came back and played this week.
I'll check it. Tampa at the 11th spot. Hunter, they're closer to missing the playoffs than they are being a one seed.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have expected
that? Yeah, Tua
that?
played this week. Tua was 26 of 39, almost 300 yards and a touchdown.
Against the Bengals?
Yeah. Would I have expected that?
So Tua's the official starter? Like, we're going to the playoffs with this dude?
Yeah.
instead of Fitzmagic. You're telling me, where's Tua from? Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me we're going into the NFL playoffs where it's going to be snowy and cold and rainy in the first year, instead of putting the Fitzmagic beard in, we're going to roll out here with a kid from Hawaii.
Yep. That's what you're doing.
Hunter, how many rookies have ever won the Super Bowl?
Hell, I don't think
The
any.
answer is none. None is the answer. That's why I don't like playing rookies first year, actually. I like making them sit there and watch and learn and figure something out. Damn, if they're going with him, they're going to lose in the first round so quick. Well, right now they'd get the Chiefs in round 1.
Blowout.
How about the Seahawks, Hunter? They dropped down to my 10 spot, 8-4. I picked them to win the NFC before the season, but they just got beat by the Giants. And what the hell do you do with that?
Giants, their pass defense was pass rush was all over Russ.
Here's one for you, Mr. Redskins fan. Yesterday, the Seahawks got beat by Colt McCoy and Alfred Morris.
Yeah, they were. They sure were.
Can I make them a Super Bowl contender if you just got beat? Wait a minute, check this. 2020, you got beat by Colt McCoy
and Alfred
Morris.
I want you to think about that. Alfred Morris started in Washington, was a backup in Dallas, and now he's with the Giants. The Eagles next. Is he going everywhere in the NFC East? Come on now.
Pete Carroll, I don't know what you're doing up there. Titans dropped to 9 after the complete dismantling
That defense looked bad.
by the Browns.
That defense looked bad. That defense looked bad.
8 is Indianapolis. 8-9 could be either one of them. I don't care. They've both stomped the other one on the other one's home field, so who the hell knows? They both got white helmets. They both got navy or royal blue, whatever color it is. I did like the Titans all light blue jerseys yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They looked good. I was pulling against them, but they looked good. Number 7, the Buffalo Bills. Did they play tonight?
Yes.
Okay, who they got tonight?
49ers. Late night game.
Bills and Niners. Niners still trying to get in the playoffs.
This. Bills and Niners in Arizona.
Shit. What if the 49ers make a playoff run in there and the Cardinals don't make it?
If the
People don't know
49ers
that
win tonight.
San Francisco County, whatever it is, Santa Clara County, you can't there's no sports. They've got to play
in Arizona
the next few weeks on the road. Arizona.
The next 2 weeks in Arizona.
At home in Arizona.
Home, Arizona.
We said that right.
It's like a little orphan.
The Rams are
around.
8-4. I got them in the 6th spot. They're inconsistent. Nothing excites me about them.
Their defense is damn good.
The defense is pretty decent. I will give them that. Topping the crack in the top in the crack 5. Cracking the top 5 for the first time maybe since the 80s.
Probably.
I mean, seriously.
Who would have thought they'd been 9 wins? Well, I said they high side could be 9-7. So,
but seriously, like Hunter, it's probably been since the 80s since they've been in the top 5 in the NFL at one point, right?
Possibly.
Got to be close.
Got to be close.
Got to be close. So before the season, I had the Brownies at 9 wins.
That's what they're at.
9 wins, and they've got some tough ones here to end the season, which is possible. But I don't know, Hunter. They've beat. Here was my assessment. I was prepared for this coming in today, and it was going to be after they'd gotten beat by Tennessee, and they didn't get beat by Tennessee. And I was going to be like, look, here's the deal. They're one of these teams where they're good enough to beat the bad teams, but not good enough to beat the good teams. So,
and then they did it.
And then they turned around and beat a pretty decent team. So with that said, I've got to kind of lean towards, that they are a pretty decent team. I don't know about beating Steelers or Chiefs, but I think they're in a good spot. And put it this way, they're in a better spot than they have been in the past 25 years, Hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you? Again, you can like Baker, or dislike him, but if you dislike him, and what are your reasons? Like, again, Cam Newton's won 2 games under 100 yards, so are you going to say, well, I don't like Baker because he don't throw for a lot of yards, but he's 9-3. We haven't had a winning team since, I think it was 2007, maybe, what was the number, or the year I heard, And then with that, you definitely had 10-win, 12-win teams.
Right.
At Bernie Coast, they won 12 of CoStar one time.
This is just a good feeling right now. If you're Cleveland, ride it while you can.
I mean, it's like the Hornets being fifth best record in the NBA right now.
Right. Just ride it. Feel good with it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're supposed to have a good time with this. Like, people say, well, you won't get out of the first round. You won't get out of the second round. So let's
just take this year as we can.
Fools, we were 0-16 like 3 years ago. You mean you only get to the first round? Here's some news notes. Harding is holding out.
Okay.
No timetable on if he'll come.
Let him do what he wants.
They hired Steven Salas. I was concerned about maybe something like to that nature. Poor Steven, though. He got hired to be the coach of the team. It won't even have any of the players on it. He got hired to be the coach of.
Yeah, well, a fresh start.
All right, let's see. Michigan okay for workouts out ahead of Ohio State battle. Jets fire defensive coordinator. Your Wizards were 19th, Hornets 25th at the power rankings. Chanticleers beat BYU and put the nation on notice. No, don't forget they won a national championship in baseball a couple years ago.
They did.
So the school's been doing pretty well. They had a good time down there, I believe, in Conway and in Myrtle Beach this past weekend. Make sure there's nothing else comes across the board. Check our Twitters.
I checked it.
I
haven't seen anything too crazy.
I don't know about that now. I've always got something. The Mullets versus the Mormons was pretty funny.
That was funny.
With the Coastal game. Again, folks, you want to see us right around Kings Mountain, escorting Santa Claus around. You can go to KTC Broadcasting, our YouTube page that you're on right now. Just click on the Kings Mountain Santa Claus Parade. Hunter, here's you a fun one for you football fans out there. Baseball games are too long and boring. And I've always said this about the NFL is that they screw you with actual watching time, but here's the exact minutes up. Average length of an NFL game is 3 hours and 12 minutes. Baseball is 3:05.
It's just the action.
Nope. Baseball actually has more action. They've put them on the stopwatch. Average time of action in a football game of those 3 hours and 12 minutes, Hunter, guess how much?
12
Remember,
seconds.
60 minutes is a football game.
11 seconds.
It's not that low. 11 minutes.
Okay.
11 seconds. Only 11 minutes out of a 3 hour and 12-minute broadcast is actual football. And remember when they said, I just read to you about the judges and all that saying that we're an entertainment business.
Yeah.
If someone invites you to their house for 3 hours and you play for 11 minutes, they have to entertain you for the other,
I guess,
2 hours.
I guess.
Baseball, you know how much they have? Action? 18 minutes.
Well, there you go.
Almost double the amount of action time that football has. Now, I don't know what they describe the action as.
I don't know.
But when you think about it, Hunter, as far as football goes, the play clock's 40 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And they usually hike it
at like 11.
Maybe
lower.
Romo and Manny and them, those offenses that read before the line, they snap at like 3.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're wasting 30 seconds of play out of 40, that's 3/4 of the time. And let's say a play lasts 5-10 seconds, maybe 45, 50 seconds per play, and you're only playing 5 seconds of that, 6 seconds of that, 7 seconds of that. Incomplete pass. How much time does a 3-step drop incomplete pass take?
Not long.
4 seconds.
Right.
So so I guess none of that's. I don't know how much that's counted as action time, but that's a pretty good comparison there for that. I'm gonna show you this one. The copy editor at. I ain't even gonna tell you the store it was, but that's all you need to know is the copy editor for this exercise equipment was having some fun.
I got it.
That was the actual picture.
That's funny.
In a Sunday sales sheet that we got at our house the other day. I was like, who's buying that? Who ordered this? Who's
Not
ordered
me.
This? I didn't order this. All right, Hunter, you got anything else for today?
Nope. That's all for me.
Anything on college basketball?
Nah,
you want to
nothing.
comment on?
Nope.
Make sure. All right, folks. Also, Floyd Mayweather is coming back.
Yeah, who cares?
To fight the other Logan brother.
Who cares?
The other Paul brother.
Yeah, forget them.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, shares of all ages, you've been listening to the Shock Joxx broadcast. Episode 106, 107 is coming up Wednesday. Zach's supposed to be here. I won't know till Wednesday morning if he'll be here. But we'll be back Wednesday, Hunter and I, and then Saturday at 8 a.m. on KTC Broadcasting. Shock Joxx.